Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Between a Pot and a Hard Place. I'm Stephen Colton,
And I am Chris Kirkpatrick.
and I'm late, and I don't have the little episode picture on here. Why? Oh my gosh!
You're
I could have.
slacking,
I
Colton.
know. I could have sworn I had it on here somewhere. I'm looking at the little overlay menu of all the files and stuff, and I don't see it. Oh my gosh! No.
This is the one with us in Funko Pop version.
Yes. I could have sworn I uploaded that today. I'm almost positive I did, but for some reason it's not showing. So we'll do it a little bit differently because I want everybody to see it at least. Yeah, I've had some little bit of a rocky start this week because I've had some technical issues. When I turned on my computer and everything was set up, this little like Cortana thing was oh gosh, please don't open now that I said it. Okay, good. It didn't. It was on the screen and it was covering part of the stuff I needed to see, but it wouldn't minimize at all.
Okay.
And I'm like, go away. So I had to reset the computer in order to like free everything up. And it was just, I don't know. It was really weird.
I swear sometimes it's the whole Murphy's Law, right? Whatever can happen will happen.
It definitely, yeah, definitely would. But we'll go ahead and do it this way. As you can see here now, everybody, this is episode 95.
95.
Yeah, Between the Pot and the Hard Place. We are Funko Pops. Pretty good detail, I think. Had my accurate hair now, which none of it is there anymore. But hey, it happens.
Well, you know, it's funny because I always see you wearing a hat. And
Yeah.
I had just assumed that there was hair under there.
Yeah, I mean, normally I don't know why, but I wear it. And so there's hair, but, you know, not as much on top.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've always been used to wearing hats. Maybe that's part of why I don't have any up there. I don't know.
I don't think it does makes a difference. I mean, I didn't wear hats for years and I still, lost my hair. So
I think my hair like loss or whatever you call it comes from my mother's side because my dad, he didn't really have any issues like that, and his dad didn't have any issues like that. I don't know about anywhere past that point, but I know my mom's like grandma or mom or somebody had some sort of like hair issues. So I think it comes from that. My brother, he also, by the time he was like my age now, I'm 35. He was a little bit worse, but like his did it, I did it, and so it's like okay, there's something somewhere genetically that, you know.
So it's funny. It's funny because I've always heard what you said that generally speaking, your hairline comes from your mother's father. But my grandfather lived to be 94 years old, and he had a full head of hair.
Wow.
So, but if you look at my hairline and if you look at Corey's hairline, not so much.
It's weird. I don't know if that's kind of a generational thing where it like skips or whatever. But my brother, he was also my half brother, so we weren't like we had different fathers, but still, it's that tells me more that it is on our mother's side because the fact that that's the only DNA we share is from our mother. So
Right.
And again, my father never really had any issues. He had some issues here and there, but with little spots and stuff that would kind of come and go. But he had other health issues that probably contributed to that, medications and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's fun to be here tonight. I mean,
I agree.
We came into this not really knowing what we're going to talk about, which I think is kind of fun. I mean, because I was like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about Moon Knight, but we did that last week.
We can still talk about Moon Knight too.
Yeah, we can still talk about it.
Yeah.
Probably not going to focus the entire episode on it, but and I'd actually pulled some posts and stuff from Facebook earlier because I didn't really, and I don't have the Facebook group post picture, the little title card. I'm really not. I got to step up my game here. I think going into work an hour early just because I was bored really threw me off today. Because I was sitting at my house. Yeah, I was sitting at home, and I'm like, okay, I have an hour before I leave. But I really didn't want to get into watching any kind of TV shows because then I would binge watch one and then I would start the next one. Then I'm like, oh, I'm 15 minutes late. So I was just like, let me go to work. And then I get there an hour early and then I work and it really threw my whole day off. Because normally in that last hour on Sunday, I would sit and like put everything together for whatever the show was going to be.
Right.
And then, so I kind of like forgot to do some of that. But I got paid an extra hour. So that's good.
Hard to argue with that.
One thing I do want to start off talking. Well, this is just a funny little meme that I saw. I'm no car guy, but there has to be a better way. And I had to look at this for a second. He's filling a trash bag with air. No, I thought it was a trash bag when I first saw it. I was like, oh, that's weird. But then I noticed he took the wheel off of the car, put it over to the machine, then filled it. I mean, that'll get the job done, but I mean, come on.
That's definitely the hardest way to do it.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess the only other way that would be harder is if you just put your mouth in the nozzle and just, eventually that might work. I don't know if you have that much of a lung capacity for any human being, but
no.
Superman maybe.
No.
But
Superman, yes, but me, no.
Yeah,
I can't fill up one of those tiny little balloons.
Yeah,
without,
it's just
gassing out.
You almost pass out, and you've got. Like
I give myself like a brain aneurysm or something.
That's what people need to do with balloons, though. Take them down to the gas station and then fill them up real quick. But yeah, the one thing I wanted to start off talking about is I might have mentioned it before, but I'm in a Facebook group called View Askew Fan Art, which it's all about. It's a group entirely based on like art, but centered around the View Askew universe, which is like what Kevin Smith calls his universe of films. And they're a little bit bigger than us. They've got 1.2 thousand members. But the guy that started it, his name is Chris McDonald. And I think I've mentioned him before on here. He does all kind of cool art and stuff like that. And I actually got an art piece from him. I forget when I actually bought it, but it came in the mail a couple of days ago.
Nice.
And it's like a crossover. It's one of those characters that's kind of involved in the Kevin Smith world, and mashed up with the Gremlins. And little pair of Chinese finger cuffs and a little button that came. And he's a cool dude because he has good art, and that's the kind of style he does. He draws mashups with Kevin Smith characters and different, like they did one where a bunch of them were Ghostbusters, one of them where they were all like Peanuts characters, like different kinds of mashups and stuff that he does. He does like commission drawings too, where you say, hey, draw me and Kevin Smith playing checkers. Okay, that'll be like $50 or whatever his price would be. And then he'll ship it in the best way. He uses shipping tubes instead of just like folding it into a box and just throwing it. So
if you're gonna go and pay for someone to go and draw something, you better put it in a way that's protected.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's pretty cool. I want to get him to draw me some things. That was something he already drew. He'll sit and draw stuff sometimes, and then when he has too much, he'll go, "Hey, anybody want to buy these? I'm getting rid of some of these." And so I was like, "Okay, how much is this one?" And he's like, "Oh, $20." So like, okay. And that picture specifically, the guy in the picture is Ming Chen, which is, if anybody watched Comic Book Man, he was in that show. He worked at the comic book store on the show, and in real life. And he also does podcasting. They have a shared universe podcast studio. They have two. I think they have at least 2 locations now, and maybe 3. In New Jersey. They might have one in New York, but I think just New Jersey, where they actually produce podcasts. It's like,
oh really?
Kind of, if any of you have ever watched or listened to podcasts, there's a lot of major podcasting studios that you can go to in bigger cities. Like Earwolf is a big one. It's similar to that. They have their own studio. They have equipment. They have editing. You could even do a digital podcast. They're all digital, like an analog podcast. But you could do like a remote podcast where like we could sit here and have them produce the show. And it would be way better. They would not forget the title images. And, they could do all that work. And I always said, if I ever got up to New Jersey, I want to go to their studio and do a video or audio podcast. They have the best equipment and all this stuff. Pretty decent prices. And they also teach podcasting classes where you could learn how to do this, or this. But yeah. And I just wanted to kind of show that art because that guy does pretty good work. And wow, there's a lot of comments now. Holy crap. A lot of it's from Corey. We're live. There were no hats in the store. Oh, darn. It's back when I didn't have my hat. That's a very nice drawing. And that was, I wish I would have had like a little thing for his social medias and stuff, but you can just go on Facebook and search for View Askew fan art. It's a private group, but now that comment is still there. I'm trying to relearn how to do everything again. Wow. But yeah, it is a private group, but you can search it, I believe. But he's got all kinds of cool little art pieces.
Definitely seems like the place to go if you're a fan of Kevin Smith.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of Kevin Smith's people, I guess you could say, are actually in the group. He actually just posted Chris McDonald, not Kevin Smith. He actually posted today a video that he met Keith Coogan. If you remember who Keith Coogan is, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
Oh yeah,
the dishes are done, man. You know, he was in Kevin Smith's latest movie, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, in a little cameo as himself, and he did a little video in the art group, which was kind of cool. And he's also gotten Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall in Clerks, to pop in and do a couple of videos and stuff. He did some art for Jeff, and he loved it, and so he popped in the group. It's a really cool group with a lot of cool stuff. And talking about art, this is a doodle I did the other day.
Okay.
I mean, I was just gonna say, hey, look, everybody, I've been practicing drawing, and I use Sharpie pens. They're these gel pens, and they're really cool. And I'm obsessed with drawing Spider-Man, but I was like, let me draw a Deadpool. Trying to practice, trying to get the head shape right and like the side profiles and stuff like that. But
it looks good. It looks good.
I mean, it's fun. Yeah, the ink is really good. The gel ink. I got to learn muscles and stuff and shadows and all that kind of thing. Haven't gotten quite there yet. And I try to do the classic. I guess you would call it not a style, but the way you're supposed to draw the skeleton and then draw like all the pieces. And when I do that, it looks terrible. But when I don't do it, it looks even worse. And my problem is I doodle heads all the time. I don't doodle whole bodies. So I drew a Spider-Man the other day, and the legs were like way too long. It was almost like he was Ralph Dibny as Spider-Man or something.
Oh,
it was
more elongated man than Spider-Man.
Yeah. Another piece of news. I don't want to forget about this one.
Yeah.
We were going to have Eric Wallace here 1 week from today on May 1st, but he had to reschedule because some things came up.
I was so disappointed to hear that.
Yeah. His assistant emailed me, I want to say about a week ago. So he gave us really good amount of notice. Like, look, Eric seems to be really excited. He's been wanting to do this for a long time, which is weird because it's like maybe Mark Guggenheim talks so good stuff about it. I don't know. But he really wants to do it, but he's busy. He's running The Flash. I mean, it's a pretty big show, even if it's not always the best. Maybe that's why he canceled it, because he heard us saying that like the Iris stuff is stupid or something, and he's like, "Oh no, that's my favorite storyline."
I would hope that somebody like Eric Wallace would be aware that not every decision he makes is always popular, you know, and yet you have an opportunity to kind of explain about kind of why he's made some of the decisions that he's made.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he's been on the show for a long time. I mean, he wasn't the original showrunner. I forget who was the original person. But I know Eric Wallace has been there, I think, since like season 5 or 6, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
So he's been there a few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was like, we don't have much to talk about, but I feel like we're finding lots of little things to go on about.
You know, Stephen, one thing that I can always guarantee with you is that we're never at a loss for words. We've always got something to talk about.
Yeah, like this Splinter figure I finally got. I don't know if I showed this. Probably did. I've probably shown this like 16 times.
You did, yeah. But still
but
cool.
It's Splinter. Yeah, and the turtles are still cool too. Cowabunga, dude. Still looking for the Leonardo and Donatello, so we'll see what happens there. I might just make them out of paper, like construction paper or something like that.
You're going to do like an origami Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
That'd be really cool. An origami turtle would be nice. Oh, gosh. Speaking about Eric Wallace, he's the guy behind the lightning rod dialogue. I really hope not. And then going back to talking about Ming Chen, Ming has a pop too. He actually does have a pop, an official one, along with I think all the comic book men from that show have one.
I mean, I think bottom line, we actually need to have real, legit pops.
We do.
Of us made.
Now, I do think there is the Funko. They have a website that's these things on the internet. I felt like a 90-year-old man talking about the internet for the first time.
Not the internet.
They have a website.
The interwebs.
But you can go on there. At one point, I don't know if they're still doing it. This was before there was a pop of everything you could think of. But yeah, there was at one point a little thing you could do on their website where you could order a custom pop. You can design it on their website, order it, they'll make it, ship it to you, all that. So that would be fun to do.
Yeah, it would be like a Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, like a Build-A-Bear, but what would be good? What would be a good name for a pop? Not Build-A-Pop, but
Pop yourself or
pile up a pop. I don't know. It would have to have that P theme, like pretend a pop or no, prepare a pop. There we go. Prepare a pop. But yeah, we talked about this the other day too. I started going on HBO Max again. I subscribed to it again. And I'm realizing how much stuff is on HBO Max. Not even just DC related stuff, but just shows in general. I found this show and binge watched it. It was season 1 had 8 episodes, I think. And so far season 2 only has 2. And they have new episodes on Thursdays, but it's called The Flight Attendant.
Okay.
And people may recognize that face. It's Kaylee Cuoco. She was big on Big Bang Theory, and she had some other stuff before that, but Big Bang Theory is probably her biggest thing she's done. This show is really great. It's like some sort of, it's like drama, thriller, comedy, kind of all mixed into one. The basic premise is she wakes up next to a guy whose throat has been slit, and she's she didn't just randomly who is this guy, but she had went out with him, met him on a plane because she's a flight attendant, and then wakes up the next morning and she thinks, oh, I killed him, and then so the whole season is finding out, did she kill him, did she not kill him, what's the detail. She doesn't remember any of it. It's kind of like Hangover in a way where she doesn't remember anything, and then has to figure out what happened or what's going on.
That sounds cool. I've always really enjoyed her as an actress. Loved her on Big Bang Theory. I was worried that she would just get stuck doing, Priceline.com commercials. So I'm glad that she's got another gig.
And it's a good one too. I mean, I think it's a limited show where the first season was 8 episodes, and they have a second season. But I think maybe it's a 2-season kind of thing. Maybe I don't know. Stranger Things, when it first came out, everybody thought it was going to be one time, and now they're coming up on their 4th season. So I think season 5 is the end of that show, but still.
Well, we've kind of learned that if a show does really well, they're not going to let it die.
So Corey says, I guess he's talking about the pops. They do still have that.
Yeah.
So we could customize our pops. Corey's just offered to, I'm implying, I'm assuming they still have it. So he's on there looking right now, designing our props. He's going to pay for them, he says.
Oh, wow. That's great. Thank you, Corey. That's very generous of you.
Yeah. I want 2 of me, please. One to open and one not to open. That might not be true, but I'm just assuming. Because everybody knows he has that psychic connection. So I felt like he was sending me those thoughts. So.
I got the same kind of, connective thought as well, so thank you, Corey, in advance.
Yeah, he's gonna make our pops women or something like that, or whatever. So I wanted to throw out a few Facebook posts. We haven't done this in a while, so
yeah,
I wanted to kind of pop up on it. No theme or anything. This one's kind of blurry, but you get the idea. Making of Thor 4 posters. So we see this Columbia Pictures thing, and we see all these font types, and then boom, that's how they did it. They just do some font over that picture, and then boom, that's
Well, and the joke is what Wade Wilson says underneath. Well, that's just lazy writing.
Yes, and that got kind of cut off a little bit. Let me let's turn off the banner for a quick second. There we go. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just lazy editing.
Are you excited about the next Thor movie?
I actually am. I think there was another Thor meme somewhere in this. I don't know if I actually was able to save it or if I missed that one. But it had, let's take this one off first. It had Thor, all the pretty much one side of the picture was all celebration, colorful costume, and then the other side was just all boring. And Thor, and then Thor, was it Thor 3 or Thor 2? I really liked all the Thor movies. I think Thor 2 probably wasn't as good as the other ones, obviously, but it wasn't as bad as 2016 Ghostbusters by any means. But I'm excited for Thor 4.
Yeah.
I mean, to see Jane become Thor, and we haven't seen Jane since what, Thor, was it Thor 2? Or something like that? Or Thor 3 or whatever. It's been a while. Like before Endgame, before all that, I don't think we've seen her since then. And I always forget that it's Natalie Portman. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Because she does it so well. I love that character, and I've missed seeing that character. And I saw the trailer for Thor 4 not too long ago, and it seems really cool. It seems like sort of like what he was in Endgame, like drunk Thor, but not drunk. He's back in shape again, but he's like, I'm just gonna play guitar all day. Yes, my I don't know. I'm trying to do an impression without having anything to say, but he's not sitting home drinking beer and playing video games, but he's like out like playing rock and like playing a guitar, like wearing like not metal, but like hard like rock and roll t-shirts, and like, yeah, I'm Thor. I'm gonna get a van and all this. I don't know. It seems cool though. I like the idea.
I mean, I think what I'm curious about is what is it that's going to lead Jane to end up kind of taking on the role. I mean, you know, like we know that Captain America is dead. That's why you know, a lot of these characters are you know, transitioning over with actors because you know, Hawkeye's retiring. He's too old to do it anymore. Captain America, right. Captain America is dead.
Yeah,
at least that's what we think.
Either dead or he's like 95 years old. Either way.
Same diff.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's just that Thor retires and Jane takes on the role, or whether you know, Thor is going to wield the axe and she's going to have the hammer. So I'm kind of curious about how that's going to work out.
That kind of bugs me too, because as we all know, the hammer got destroyed. Like then I was at Thanos or somebody broke it, destroyed it, and that's how he had to get Stormbreaker, the axe.
Hela had ended up breaking it.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I just watched that movie like not even a month ago. I'd totally forgotten that. I watched so much Marvel all at once. I'm like, but what bugs me about it is like when he went back in time and he saw his mother, he held his arm out and boom, here comes the hammer. And then he just took it back with him. I'm like, isn't it supposed to dissolve? Because you're not supposed to do, it's not what you do back then won't affect what you do now. But if you have the hammer, you could use it. It affects what you do now. I don't know. I'm not going to think about it too much. It's the hammer. It's cool. I never understood why he didn't just make a new hammer instead of making the axe. Because he's like, I miss my hammer. I miss my hammer. I'm worthy, but where'd my hammer go? And like, can you just mix an axe? Which is cooler because it's Groot's arm as the handle, which is awesome. But I don't know.
I think that him getting the axe was sort of like him growing up.
Yeah,
right? The hammer was for the boy, but the axe was for the king.
Exactly, I think. Plus, it's more badass. It's an axe.
It really is. A
hammer just hurts, but an axe can like chop you up. This was a good one. This isn't like anything official, but rumors. 18 characters will die in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's rumored, but makes you wonder who. I guarantee at least one Doctor Strange will die. I'm excited for that movie too, because we're going to see the what if Doctor Strange, the evil, dark Doctor Strange. Whether or not that ties in with what if directly and saying like, this is the same guy, or if it's just a version of that. Either way, that's pretty cool.
It looks like a lot like they're even going to bring in the zombie Avengers from what if as well.
Which I love how they teased that in No Way Home. I watched it recently. I picked up the digital copy of No Way Home. I was just too impatient to wait for the Blu-ray to release. It was like a week later, but still. I got the digital copy, and I was watching it again, and I'd forgotten when Strange's cape picks up Peter Parker and flying him around. I'm like, oh, that's kind of the thing. But that was pretty cool. Such a good movie. I could still hear the audience in the theater like yelling and screaming when Andrew Garfield and I was gonna say Andrew Garfield and Peter Parker, but Andrew Garfield and what's the other random guy's name?
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, why did I forget his name? It's just some random guy. I can still hear the audience react to those moments in my head. Like no matter how many times I watch that movie.
The payoff of that was huge. Right?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
massive.
You think about how long people had been waiting for that, and I still believe that they were playing jokes with us, and that they would never do it. So
yeah,
when they actually made it happen, I could not have been any more happy.
And even when it did happen, I was still in disbelief. I was like, this is gonna be like a dream or something where they're like where Ned is on the floor and like MJ's gonna pour water on his face. He's gonna wake up. Like I had a dream about some weird guy. I was convinced there was still something like some little piece of it that wasn't real. But
yeah, I was so glad that they didn't do that though.
Yes,
they really legitimately gave us that moment. If for us just to be able to remember, who they were and what they brought to the character, and also maybe a chance for us to say goodbye.
Yeah, it did. It definitely felt like the end. And I know they said, "Oh, this is the end of the Spider-Man, Sony, Marvel, all this and that." But then the way they ended it, the final bit of it, it's like, okay, they're leaving it open, possibly stitching the new suit, swinging around with the new suit in New York. And I watched this video. I don't know. There's not a behind the scenes, but there's like this little bonus feature. I believe the digital one I bought had all the same features that the Blu-ray has. And they have this little Easter egg featurette where it tells you some of the Easter eggs that are in the movie. And then it's like, can you find the rest of them? There's tons more. And I'm like, give me all of them. But one of them was Peter Parker's apartment at the end of the movie was very similar to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's apartment in Spider-Man 2, I think it was. When he had that little apartment and then it's all like crappy and like rent, that it was very similar. And you could tell they did that on purpose. It was like a nod to that one. I would just hope they get that guy, like Mr. Dickovich, which was itself, his name was an Easter egg because that was Steve Dickovich was the co-creator of Spider-Man with Stan Lee. So most people saw it written as Steve Ditko, but like to Dickovich, you're like, and I learned later on, I'm like, oh, wow, that was a thing. So I thought that was cool. But I want to see that guy again in Spider-Man somewhere like, rent? Or maybe he's driving a bus, like, bus fare? I don't know.
Right. I think what I'm the most excited about with Multiverse of Madness is the idea that we had just gotten a taste of what this is going to be like, but it seems like they're going to blow that completely out of the water.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
In the trailers, like they keep saying, like this is your reckoning and all this stuff. It's like this is going to be huge.
It really is.
May even be bigger than No Way Home in terms of like crossovers and like surprises and. Well, I've heard rumors that there's going to be some maybe either references or appearances by Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire or both.
Yeah, you never know. I think that part of it, having Wanda come in, after the events of WandaVision, it's going to be interesting to see, number one, what her power level is going to be at this point.
Yes. And another good theory running around is that Professor X in Multiverse of Madness is from X-Men 97 animated. That would be a good theory. That would be their way to bring in the X-Men. This movie. Because, like, how cool will it be to see X-Men pop into the MCU officially, be, like, part of it?
I've always thought it being silly that people in the Marvel universe, but not necessarily, you could be in the Marvel comics, but not necessarily be in the MCU.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't know. The problem with it is that Patrick Stewart was never in the 97 X-Men unless they've got him to voice for the new stuff coming out on Disney Plus.
They could. And I know they said, from what I understand, like a lot of the 97 X-Men animated series is going to be as many original voice actors as possible. But I don't know who did the voice of Professor X originally. He may not be living anymore. I don't know.
Right. I think that the fact that we're seeing the Patrick Stewart version of Professor X means that what we had seen in the previous X-Men movies could essentially be canon finally.
Yeah, it really could. And then talking about Captain America a few minutes ago. Well, we weren't talking about him, but we mentioned him. The Marvel Legends. This is Dan's toy box, who's part of our group, and he has a YouTube or a website, danstoybox.com. And he says, I'm excited to drop this review for you for your enjoyment. Come on in the Toy Box and check out the new 20th anniversary Marvel Legends Captain America. So he does a little review. It's not a direct link, but you can just go to Destroybox, danstoybox.com, and check that out. That looks like a cool figure. I love figures, and that looks like a really cool. I think I saw one of those either online or in a store somewhere. It's a pretty cool looking figure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to slow down. I'm trying to slow down buying figures, though. I'm trying.
Well, we both know that you've never been very successful.
No, not so far. Especially with these guys coming out. I just couldn't help myself. I had to get these. And now I find out they're coming out with a new line of turtles from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. They're basically the same, but they're so much different. Their facial details are a little bit different. Their weapons are like the yo-yo and all that stuff. So I really hope I don't ever find them in a store. So if I do, I have to buy them. It's the law. Oh, I hope not, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of Turtles 2, I didn't do this on purpose. I swear. This is awesome.
That is quite the segue. Yeah,
it really was, because Corey posted this. I knew it was in here, but I didn't realize it was the next one. I just randomly ordered them and clicked on one at a time. So that's really cool. Corey said that, who remembers this scene? I remember after the movie being in front of the mirror and trying to do this all night. And now this is a YouTube video, but of course there's no link to it. But if you go to the video, it's the scene where he's like supposed to be like this little thing. And I actually think I tried to do that too. And that's the movie I grew up with. Now, I'd seen the original 1990 film, but Turtles 2, they were smart and dumb in a way with that movie. Like, they were like, oh, no, it's too violent. We can't, like, because the original one, they said damn a lot. And they had weapons. It was too dangerous, too evil and dark. And I'm like, watching that movie now, you're like, really? Damn is too evil? Aside, that's what they do. They used weapons. Like, what? They didn't stab anybody. But anyway, the new movie had to have like yo-yos and foam bats, and Michelangelo had nunchucks made out of meat. I loved it as a kid. It appealed to kids more. It was goofy. So that worked in that way. But at the same time, watching it as an adult, you're like, why? And then some pizza boy just knows karate and is helping them. It's like, what? I don't know. It's still a good movie, but growing up, I thought Turtles 2 was better as a kid. And then as an adult, I'm like, no. Turtles 1 is better. It really changed my thoughts on it, watching it as an adult.
I you know what? I enjoyed both of them, but I was a huge Turtle fan when I was younger. That said, I think I still, just for the surprise of it, enjoyed the first one the most.
Yes. I feel like it was more accurate.
Right. And then we wouldn't even talk about the third movie.
Ugh. Made no sense at all.
Damn.
But yeah, like that was my reaction to that movie. I watched it like, damn. Now, as a kid, I always like, oh, it's the Turtles, Japan, yay, whatever. And then watching it as an adult, I'm like, I'd rather watch 2016 Ghostbusters. Well, maybe not, I don't know, maybe not that bad, but
I wouldn't go that far. But it didn't make sense to me.
No,
they were trying too hard.
I would understand like no Shredder. Okay, fine. I love how we said we weren't going to talk about it, and I'll go and analyze it. So moving on, we have Oscar Isaac here with some Moon Knight statues, and that was shared, and I thought that was pretty cool. We talked about Moon Knight last week, and I had completely forgotten he was in Star Wars. He plays it off so well, like these different characters.
Yeah, I mean, so we know that he was Finn.
Yeah.
In the last 3 Star Wars movies, so the guy's legit as an actor. He also played Apocalypse in X-Men: Age of Apocalypse.
See, I haven't seen many of the X-Men movies. I need to go back and watch those. Now, all the X-Men are on Disney now, right? Or some of them are, I think, because they bought Fox and all that stuff. So I think the movies are available.
You can definitely go and check it out.
I think they might be. I think at least one of them, one of the like original movies is on there. I think. I don't know if they're all on there. But yeah, I need to check that out. Moon Knight was great. I mean, we could talk about the episode in a bit, I guess. But it was such. I watched it this morning, actually. No, it was just last night. I think I watched it. It was fresh on my mind. But Jeff Bezos is really worth $200 billion and ain't Batman or Iron Man yet? That's a good point, though. You feel like if anybody could have been a real life Batman or Iron Man, it would have been Jeff Bezos, or maybe what's the other guy?
Lex Luthor,
Elon Musk, or Jeff Bezos. One of them. He is more like a Lex Luthor, actually. Looks like Lex Luthor. I mean, look at the guy. That's not him. He doesn't look like Lex Luthor. Yeah, I mean, he kind of does remind me of a Lex Luthor, except take the bow tie off and put a regular necktie, and he would be more accurate with
right.
that. But still, like, he should be Batman.
200 billion. I mean, can you just like wrap your head around that?
Oh, Corey pointed out it was Poe.
It was Poe. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Finn, Poe.
Poe Finn. But yeah, we knew. I think everybody knew what we were talking about there. But yeah, Jeff Bezos is like super rich. Like, imagine he could lose literally half of his money and not even notice. Like, oh, I've only have $100 billion. Oh my gosh, I'm so broke. Like, if I lost half my money, I'd have like $12 or something. Like, okay, maybe I have a little bit more money than $24. But you get the point. Like, this dude will never have to worry about anything, and I don't think he knows what it feels like to drop $1. He's probably like, what's a dollar bill? You don't have gold coins everywhere? You don't use diamond-encrusted toilet paper? Well, that would probably be painful. But still, I mean, the guy... Oh, I can't get over how much money he has.
No, it's crazy. You can work hard and save every penny, and you're not going to get anywhere close to that kind of wealth.
Unless you develop some sort of technology that no one has ever thought of, or something like ridiculously stupid and impossible. I like this one too. Me. Is tragically no one could hear the truck backing up. I feel like Roadrunner could get away because he's not even fully in the path of the truck. It doesn't look like he's kind of off to the side. Beaker is just like standing there,
but he's looking in the opposite direction.
That's true, and all the beep beeps you wouldn't really know, but I feel like he would get clipped. R2-D2 would get smashed. Definitely, he's right there behind the tires. But the other two are kind of off to the side a little bit. Like, Roadrunner might get a broken wing and maybe like a sprained ankle, but I still feel like Beaker would be totally fine. Like, he's way over there. And he would see like R2-D2 get bumped over first, and he'd run away probably. He'd be like, me, and then run away. I don't know. But I thought that was kind of funny because I was reading I read each little word, beep, 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 in Roadrunner's voice, and then the meep, meep in his voice, and then the other beeps. Somehow I could tell which beeps were.
You knew where they were coming from?
Yeah, like, I could tell. I'm kind of disappointed there's no boops in there. But like, beep, boop, boop, boop. But what truck makes a boop sound? So the beeps made more sense to me. I thought it was funny.
Well, my wife did post it, so.
Yeah, and that's why you know it's funny. And Corey brings up the good point that Beaker is a young Dr. Brown from Back to the Future. And I believe he actually posted the same comment in Facebook, which was pretty funny because I heard that comment. When I read the comment, I was like, holy crap, he is. He kind of looks just like him in a way. Well, I don't think Doc Brown wore a tie, but still, maybe that's his younger years going to college. And then when he grew up, he took the tie off and his hair was gray. And that's what he's saying all the time. Great Scott. It's translated. That's how he became a doctor. He taught himself how to speak. I don't know. I'm just really coming up with a bunch of nonsense. And this last little picture I found online, I think it was earlier today or last night. I've been looking for apartments and houses and things like that because we're probably going to be moving out of this house at some point in the near future, but at some point. And, of course, your phones track you. So I'm like, apartment. And then, boom, like 35 ads for, like, apartment websites. Anyway, I see this picture, this little housing cluster, and I literally thought this was a screenshot from the Minecraft video game because of the blockiness of the tops of the houses.
Right. And
I was like, oh, wait, that's a neat Minecraft. Oh, wait, that's real? That's in Easton, Pennsylvania. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom for $194,900, which actually seems like a good deal for a purchase. I mean, I know they're they're squished in, and I don't know if I'd ever buy a house in a neighborhood like that where they're all attached to them all. But because you may as well just live in an apartment building at that point, they're all smushed in. But still, $194,000 is a pretty good deal, considering like so many of these little newer style houses are popping up here for $300,000 and $400,000.
Yeah,
that are the same size as that.
We bought our house for $350 here in Southern California.
That's not bad for there.
No, it's great for California, but we're not sitting in our neighbors' laps either.
Right. I mean, that's how I felt watching Full House, because in that area of San Francisco that they use the exterior shot for. Imagine like all these nice houses, but they're all like pushed in, and it's like
the joke to me was this idea that that Danny and the other lady, I don't remember her name. Jesse's wife.
Oh yeah, Rebecca.
Yeah, that somehow both Danny and Rebecca are TV celebrities.
Yeah,
and yet somehow they have to room in a house. I mean, it really is that expensive in San Francisco.
Yeah, and I think another part of that, like storyline explanation, was like they tried to move out when they first kind of got like serious together, Jesse and Rebecca. And then Michelle was like, "Don't we fuck with Jesse?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll stay." Like, but I'm like, come on, he could have bought the house next door or something. I mean, she's a TV host; she's got to be making more than minimum wage. And Danny's the same way; he owns this house, and then they lived in the attic, which didn't really exist because you see the exterior shot. There is no attic space. There is no room for an attic. But you look inside, and there's a huge attic. It's like that doesn't. It still irritates me a little bit. I mean, they could have just used the basement, but that's where Joey lived, I guess. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
It was still a big house for San Francisco, but to me, it was just ridiculous. I get the idea, you know.
Yeah,
they were a family that came together to support one another, and you know, it was endearing in a way.
But yeah, it was almost like not a cult, but like a compound type environment because they all chose to be there. I don't think they really needed to. I know in the beginning, like he needed help raising 3 young girls by himself, and that explains why they started staying there. But after 8 years or something like that, they're still there, and it's like, why?
At some point, most people just kind of, move on with their lives, or you end up pissing somebody off and moving out.
Yeah, I mean, all those people, and they had their issues, but they always got resolved in 22 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess they just love each other that much.
I wish life was that easy.
Yeah. Any problem you have resolved in 22 minutes, all you have to do is just not even talk, wait for 22 minutes, and then someone would magically apologize after the commercial. Well, real life doesn't have commercials, I guess, but still. Although they do. You just see advertisements posted everywhere. But yeah, wow, we've talked for 45 minutes almost about random stuff.
Yeah.
Where's that picture of Moon Knight again? There we go. But yeah, I did watch the last episode of Moon Knight, the 4th episode. It's crazy that there's only the 4th episode, and where they're at in the story is already feels like a season finale type storyline. But it's only episode 4.
I know, it's crazy. Well,
I don't know how many they have, like 8 or 10, I don't know, but still, it's at least halfway, no more than halfway through the season.
So it's really interesting where they've gone. Episode 3, we had finally gotten this fully realized Moon Knight. We saw him, in action, beating the crap out of people, even in his cape, when he was essentially, gliding through the air when it opened up.
And it was the moon shape.
It was, and I thought that was a really neat effect. And then we've realized that Khonshu ends up, angering the other gods, and gets himself imprisoned. And in the act of getting imprisoned, they end up losing the Moon Knight suit power.
Yeah, and that was a cool. At first, I didn't connect the dots. I was like, "Wait a minute, he's in prison, but why are there? Because I guess this realm or wherever this prison is deactivates him somehow, and so he has no connection to any of the Avatar or whatever. But it's still cool how Steven and what was the other guy's name? Mark. How they were able to still switch bodies and stuff, because that's a whole different thing. But I like that. they go to the tomb and everything and find it, and he's like tearing the stuff off. I'm like, this is Alexander the Great. This is crazy. I don't know if they knew who was going to be in there, but he realizes he's in there. And he's like, oh, this is just kind of like digging around, and he realizes who's in there, and he's like, holy crap. And then they finally find the thing they're looking for. He has to shove his arm all the way down inside. And he's like, hey, oh gosh, it's so disgusting. It's like, dude, this guy's been dead for what, like 7,000 years or something? There wouldn't be any kind of gross stuff. It'd be all dried up, wouldn't it?
No, I mean, but it's still gross to go and put your hand in a dead body.
I guess, but being all mummified, I don't think his head would have been able to open like it did. Like he's opened his jaw and stuck his hand in. I'm like, that jaw would have like broken in half or something. It had been mummified and dried up and all that for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. But still, the point is he had to go in a disgusting place and get this thing, and then that's when things got crazy, really.
Right. Well, and I think what's interesting here is we had always thought that that Mark was the strong one in this relationship, and definitely as far as brute strength and skill, he is.
Mm-hmm.
But Steven has definitely demonstrated his understanding of Egyptian lore and reading hieroglyphs and all of that kind of stuff too. So he's shown himself to be more than capable. The crazy part in it though is that Steven kissed Mark's wife.
Yeah, and Mark knew, like you could tell. And then she didn't hate it. That was the other interesting thing. Like she was all about like, hey, Steven, you're stupid. I don't like you, and all this stuff. Well, she didn't straight up insult him, but you could tell she was like, oh, give me my husband back and all this stuff. And then when he kissed her, she was like, oh, like she really, I don't know why I did this, but like people know what kissing is. I made it awkward. But yeah, she didn't seem to hate it too much, which I thought was really interesting.
Well, I think that, it's strangely enough. I mean, it's the same body, but two distinct personalities. And it's clear that she's pretty ticked off at Mark, but she's really finding Steven to be kind of cute.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is the fact that they're the same body. So she already knows what he's working with and everything. She's like, well, I don't got to wonder about that. But she's also kind of like starting to like his personality. Like he's really smart, and this Mark dude is he's a badass, but like that's all he does. And like he's not very smart. He's kind of stupid. Not stupid, but it reminds me a little bit of Firestorm in a way. I mean, like you had Stein with intelligence, and then you had Jax, or before that, Ronnie Raymond with the muscle and the toughness and stuff. And that's sort of like that, but the same body.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just like that dynamic, though, it's going to take a while for Steven and Mark to be able to kind of work things out.
Yeah,
so that they know how to, I think, appreciate the strengths of each other.
And I'm still kind of wondering, like, is this really just a split personality kind of thing, or is it like another person's soul that like possessed his body? Or I don't really understand that, but it doesn't really matter either way. It's interesting. Corey points out, it says that Haro is still connected, even though like she's been. I can't pronounce that crap. What's her name called?
Emmett.
Emmett. I don't know why, but I'm looking at that like that's not the right one. That's a different one. It confused me. I don't know. Weird Egyptian type names. Even though she's been in a statue form for thousands of years, I think Mark can still access the suit, which that's a good point. So if he's still got those powers from a statue, then why can't Khonshu do the same thing? Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a deeper lockdown or something.
Here's my guess: is that staff is a relic of Emmett.
That might be it. The connection is there. The magic or whatever, the power is in the staff itself.
Exactly. So if they were to destroy the staff, then his connection with Emmett would be broken.
Or maybe that's how Steven and Mark get powers or connection back somehow to something. Like maybe they steal it somehow and either reprogram it to connect to somebody else or maybe just break it. And then I don't know. Maybe once they destroy it, maybe that frees all the other gods that are imprisoned or something.
I definitely feel like that is, and Jeremy, I think that I really do see Moon Knight going past season 1.
I think so, definitely.
It's been so good. It's been so well written. The action is fantastic. And being in a character that I had not been familiar with prior to this, I'm really, really impressed. So,
and I'm kind of flipping because I originally had this mindset of Marvel TV shows are terrible, movies are amazing, DC movies are terrible, shows are amazing. And that kind of shifted a little bit. Not so much all the way around where DC shows suck, but they've kind of like balanced out as far as the TV shows. Marvel shows now are great. It was this once Endgame ended. I mean, not to say that at the time I didn't like Daredevil, but now I do. But I guess I wasn't familiar with some of these characters. It was like these random characters that are just being thrown out there. But now that everything's kind of connecting, it makes it more interesting for me. I'm like,
no, I mean,
yes,
gosh,
dude.
You talk about Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Those are all fantastic. Now, listen, we won't talk about Iron Fist because that one was terrible. And we won't talk about Inhumans because that one was terrible. And the Runaways was okay. But that said, all the new Disney Plus stuff I think is fantastic, and there hasn't been a stinker in the bunch.
Yeah,
frankly,
and that's kind of where it shifted for me because like the ones you listed there were kind of terrible. I didn't see all of that stuff, but I've heard a lot. I didn't hear a lot of great things about them. And I think what turned me away from Daredevil season 1 was the fact that you didn't see the suit. I think I was like, what is this? It was like some flea market version of Daredevil. Like, why? I didn't really appreciate the story and the development of the characters. Once I understood that, I was like, okay, this show's pretty good. But the other ones, but then they flipped it. Like the Disney Plus stuff after Endgame, like all these shows coming out are so good. And with Moon Knight, I had no idea who this guy was. Never even heard of the character really before. So, but I was sucked in after the first episode. I was hooked. I had to watch them all. And so I'm glad that I watched it. Really. I mean, I haven't. Like, Eternals has been the only thing lately that hasn't been like the greatest. Not that it was bad, but it was like too much in too short amount of time. And it was just, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And some of them get killed off before you even get to know who they are. It felt like a team up, like an Avengers type thing, but in the beginning instead of at the end. And it just, I don't know, it felt weird. But I do enjoy it. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, the Moon Knight, the end of that episode, we see, I forget how he gets there, but he wakes up in this insane mental hospital. And I guess he falls down some pit. Now, I'm not even sure if this is actually happening to him or if this is some mental foggy dream type thing. I'm not sure exactly.
So here's what we know. We know that Harrow has the ability to cast illusions, right? Mm-hmm. That stick that he has, that cane, it's got multiple abilities to it. Right. Along with it revealing a person's true character, it allows him to kind of judge a person based on not only their past but on their future, and kill them as a result. But it also is able to create illusions, and I believe that this asylum is meant to be sort of a mental prison.
That makes sense
for them. Now, what's crazy for me? Did you ever watch the FX TV show called Legion?
I think I saw it once or twice. It's been a very long time, but I do remember vaguely remember that.
So for me, when I watched this last episode, it reminded me of Legion because Legion starts out in a mental institution, and as we find out, not everything is what it seems, right? That a lot of it comes down to, people playing mental games with the main character, and so they're supposed to kind of cast doubt about whether everything we've seen so far had really happened or whether, hey, Steven's crazy and he's just simply concocted this alternate reality to explain what's been going on to him.
Yeah, and I do. When I saw it at first, I had that thought. I was like, maybe he was because they always. I don't want to say that story element or that little idea has been overused, but it's been used a lot. I know every time we talk about anything, I always have a version of it to compare to in Smallville. But there was an episode of Smallville where it was what kind of kryptonite was silver kryptonite, I think, or something, and he cut his hand on it, and then he started losing his mind and thinking his dad was working for Lionel Luthor and getting paid off to give secrets about him and he was actually walking around the real world, but he wasn't seeing and hearing the things he thought he was. But I do like that story element, that idea of like, let's make the audience think that they're crazy, but then they probably aren't, but who knows? Because usually there's some truths that come out of this delusion. Even though it's all fake, there's some little bits of truth that actually come out usually.
Right.
And I like the fact that like you have Steven and Mark that are walking around with each other. They're no longer just in their own heads. They're just physically there. So that really throws you off. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on with this?
No, I think it's great. It really is, I think, a clever twist in the story. And we know at some point they're going to end up realizing that this is all an illusion, like a very elaborate trap for them.
The Matrix.
It is. It
Basically.
is. I think that Harrow realizes that of all of the people that could come after him and be a challenge to him, Mark and Steven are absolutely the biggest threat he has.
Okay, wow. So in the comics, he had several personalities. So if they adapted a lot of that, I think maybe Mark dies or something, and here's Philip or whoever. That would give the potential for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons, because like each season could be a new personality. Like, season 2, it's David or whoever, But then Steven would still be like the central character of like, oh gosh, who is this? Who is David? Who are you? Whatever. And then that would give them room to do different personalities, different situations.
Well, and I think we've already kind of established the fact that there are some things that seem to happen when neither Steven or Mark appear to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they wake up and the guy gets stabbed at the beginning of this episode, neither Mark or Steven seem to understand how that started. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I did like that. Like they were both like, because at one point you thought it was like Mark was in control of everything, and then Steven would just black out. But then when Mark starts blacking out too, they're like, "I didn't do it. Did you do it? I didn't do it." That really is cool.
Right.
And that hasn't happened since Khonshu's in prison. So I think Khonshu would just take over their body and just do whatever he wanted.
Well, I had kind of thought that was probably what was happening, was that Khonshu was using their bodies, but this is happening after Khonshu had already been imprisoned.
Well, that's true. So, maybe that's Jake. Jeremy says
from State Farm.
That's my thought too. It's like, oh, who are you? Oh, I'm Steven. Who are you? Like, I'm Jake from State Farm. Well, you sound hideous. Because no, but
right. So he's like, put on the suit, and he comes out in his red shirt.
It'd be like the Moon Knight outfit, but it'll be colored like that. Like the pants would be khakis, but the upper part would all be red.
Oh, Steven, this is why we don't write for Moon Knight.
Yeah, it would be terrible. So much product placement. I would have a Pepsi version where his like hood was blue and his face was red and the big logo on his chest, and he like threw Pepsi cans at people. I don't know. That would be terrible. Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a movie that goes straight to video.
It'd be like Sharknado 7 or something. Like, I was gonna mention Flash and Superman and Lois, but they haven't been on the air for like 7 years. So
when did they come back?
I think Superman and Lois comes back on this week. I think. Okay. I didn't realize they were on such a long break. Every week I would turn on the CW app, because generally I wouldn't watch the shows live. I would be home for them, but I liked watching them on the app better, because I know Superman and Lois last season did
All right. Hello?
It happened again. Well, let me try to restart my camera again.
At least I can hear you.
Yeah, that's good. Hopefully this fixes. Oh no. So I mean, anyway, yeah, they haven't had a new episode of either of those shows in like 3 weeks, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while.
Right, and to leave us on that huge cliffhanger where we see this bizarro Jonathan Superboy pop up. I mean, that's almost that borders on cruelty.
It definitely does. Oh, come on. I thought I had it. We'll get it there. If not, I'm still here.
It looks like you're doing something. All right, you're back.
There we go.
You're back.
And my internet has hiccups all the time, and when it does, it just freezes the camera, and it's so weird.
All right, you froze up again there, Steven. All right, I hear you. I hear something.
Oh, is it back?
No, you're still frozen.
Here's
what I say.
But
here's what I say is we've had a great episode. Just kind of getting caught up. I say we'll look forward to seeing Superman and Lois come back here this week, and we'll be able to go and talk about that next time.
Yes,
it feels like the universe is conspiring against us.
It's weird too because like, wait, can you see me moving now?
I can see you now.
Wow, that's okay. I was trying to log into my phone and do this rest of the show from my phone. Like, okay, everybody.
But I think,
my router isn't working. But yet
really?
Somehow, because it has a little red light, like danger, danger, not working, whatever. But it's still, I'm here.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up then.
Yeah.
And we can kind of just finish. All right. Thanks for hanging with us.
It's Conchu.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
But yeah, thanks for hanging with us because this has been weird. I keep looking at my light. I'm like, it's still red, dang it. It's weird though. I feel like it's gonna go off any second. So yeah, we had some trouble starting out. We had some trouble here through the show, but we made it through. And it's been fun. I liked randomly talking about other stuff.
Yeah, it's nice just to be able to sometimes get off script a little bit, right?
Yeah, because that way we don't have to hit all these different notes like, oh, we got to do this. But I'm looking forward to Flash again, Superman and Lois again. I'm really liking the Flash storyline. We saw Deathstorm, and then it's like, oh, now you're not going to have an episode for like 2 weeks. And it really made me mad because I went on the CW app, and it says, new episode of The Flash, watch now. And I'm like, oh, and I click on it, and it was like the last week's episode before that. It's like, why did it say new episode when it's not new? But anyway.
They're playing with you.
They are. It's a multiversal thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, oh man, the little thing's gone. The little, don't forget to Twitter, Facebook, and all that fun stuff that's down there. And Mark Guggenheim is really fun and cool. And if I ever get to make it out there, Mark's not opposed to meeting up with us in person, which is really cool.
That would be so awesome.
It just depends on how things go. Like there's a moving situation coming up possibly. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. If not this year, then the next year. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed, but if it does, it does, I guess.
I mean, California is not going anywhere anytime soon.
unless it falls off the edge like everybody says it's supposed to, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
It's supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen 40 years ago, and it hasn't happened yet.
So. And who knows? Maybe I can get out there like in an October or something one day. Like it'd be cheaper.
It would be cooler.
It would be cooler. It'd still be like what 90, like in December or 82 or something. I don't know.
We used to when our old house had a pool. We used to go into the pool in December.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like today we had 80 degrees, and I'm like, because we're used to like 60s right around now, and it's like 80 the last couple of days, which has been nice. But the inside of the house, the little thermostat thing over here says 78, which seems kind of hot. I don't actually have air conditioning, but I have heat. But we'll see what happens with all that trip stuff. I was talking to an Allegiant lady, mostly because she's kind of hot, and I like talking to her. But we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm about going to California. Oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, you want to go with me? And she slapped me. That didn't happen. But I was talking to her about going to California, and I was like, I had the thought of flying to Vegas. She was like, oh, yeah, we have like tons of Vegas. They do. They have tons of Vegas flights from Allegiant, and they're super cheap. I think round trip to Vegas is like $300.
Okay.
And then the bus trip from Vegas to the Ontario area is like, based on what I looked up, it was like $25 one way, like $50 round trip. There's probably more fees on top of that, but still the base price is like $25. It's like, that's doable.
Yeah.
It's like a 4-hour bus ride. My luck would be I get into Vegas, I get out of the airport, and I walk down the wherever the bus station place is. It might be at the airport, who knows? But I go to the place, and it's probably going to be like I land in Vegas at like, say, 9 a.m. or something, and then the bus doesn't leave until like 4 a.m. the next night. It would be my luck to have a situation like that.
So here's what I know about Vegas and most major international airports. They have a bus station right there.
Okay, well, that's good.
You wouldn't have to go very far. And Vegas and tourism is huge. Tons of people use the bus. And so I'm sure that there are buses that leave on the hour to take people back and forth to LA and back. So
probably.
So I think you wouldn't have a hard time finding a bus that'd be going this way.
I think I got in my own head when I was looking at it schedule-wise, because it was like, this bus will leave this station at this time. I'm like, but there's probably like you said, a ton of buses that leave at this time, which explains why they're so cheap. It's just like a regular bus, but it goes further than like a single city bus would go around the city. But yeah, that's an option. It's the cheapest option as far as the cheapest option would probably just get a Greyhound from here to there, but that would take like 3 days or 2 days, whatever. And if I have a week vacation, that would eat up literally most of it.
Right. You would spend all of your time on the bus, and you might have a day.
Yeah.
To actually enjoy it. So, to me, it makes a lot more sense. Flying to Vegas, then take the bus. Down this way.
Yeah.
So,
and if I time it right, I could be in Vegas at least for a day. And even if I don't gamble or spend any money at all, I could walk around and just be like, this is cool. And then just get on a bus and go.
I mean, Vegas is a really cool place. It's expensive, but lots of great shows, really good food, at least catch a buffet.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to Vegas and then not get a chance to enjoy any of it.
Run a bicycle if they have that, just ride around like. Or I could take my hat off, put it on the ground, and be like, just do like this, and then like see how much money I can make just doing a stupid little dance like this.
I mean, they might think you're a prostitute.
I mean, if it gives me money, and I don't have to do anything.
Right, you could end up in the positive after this trip, Stephen.
Yeah, I could walk away and then go gamble and have maybe I could be Jeff Bezos rich. I could own Las Vegas by the end of it.
Right.
$201 billion.
Yeah, that's ambitious.
Yeah, I don't think my luck is that good. I might win a couple hands of blackjack, but I might go in with $10 and walk out with 20 at the best. But or my luck, I'll just be lucky enough to get a free dinner roll or something. I don't know. I keep clicking this thing off. I'm trying to click on and get ready to click on the little song to leave the show, and I keep clicking the wrong button. Maybe that's a sign we need to go. I don't know. And speaking of food, I am kind of hungry, so I need to get some food.
And I haven't had dinner yet either.
So, and I'm like, it's almost 10 a.m. It's almost 10 p.m. Like, why haven't I eaten? Forgetting that I went to work. And I was like, where'd my day go? Like, at work? Oh, yeah. All right. But yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and thanks to all the new members of our Facebook group. I've noticed the last few days we've been getting quite a few popping up, which is nice. if every one of you in that group sends me $1, I could go to California very easily.
We would have $7.
$7. I mean, if they're the 1.1 thousand people, if they're actually paying attention, they could give me $1 each.
And it's weird. It depends on what view of the page you've got. Like, there's one view of the page where it shows up as 1.2 thousand in our group, but when I look on it on my phone, it still says 1.1.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that for some reason, when you look at it in that certain way, it's counting everybody who's been invited or interacted at all as part of the group, because they're somehow associated with it in one way or the other. And then the other one is showing the actual, like, officially confirmed member count, which is really confusing. Just show who's a member, because that's what a member is. I mean, it's like me saying, like, some big time membership. I'm a Illuminati. Does that automatically make me a member of it? No. Or maybe it does. That's how Google knew I was looking for an apartment. No. But yeah, that's my rambling stage of the show, which means it's time to leave. So everybody have a good night. Have a good week. Watch The Flash. If you haven't seen Moon Knight, go watch that. And if you have HBO Max and you're looking for something new, check out The Flight Attendant. It's a really good show. I've always liked Kaylee Cuoco, though, so I'm like, oh. And then hearing her,
she's great. She really
hearing her and seeing her in a more mature type of environment is really cool. I hear her speak and hear words that I've never heard her say, and I'm like, ooh, this is exciting. I'm like a 12-year-old kid. She said a cuss word. Anyway, it's fun. It's a good show. And like and comment to all of these other things that we talked about tonight, but you can't really do that necessarily. But anyway, yeah, go everybody, give me $1 and watch all these shows and tune in next week to the show. Well, we're probably going to be talking about by that point, we'll have another episode of Moon Knight and The Flash, I think, maybe, and some Superman and Lois to catch up on, all that fun stuff. And
I'll be ready.
And I'll probably have 1,000 new action figures by that point.
I don't doubt it.
They're going to be piling up to this. I'm going to have to swim out of them, kind of like Scrooge McDuck and his money in his basement vault thing. I have to get a new apartment or a house that has a vault in the basement so I can swim through action figures. All right, that's enough talking from me. Everybody, thanks for coming, and take care and have a good time, or whatever makes sense.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.